welcome to the episode of Kill James Bond that we're recording now in the year 2023.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sort of hedging my bets on whether I'm going to avoid the first episode of the year thing this time. I am Alice Caldor-Kelly. I'm joined, as always, by my friends Abigail Thorne and Devon.
Hey, how you doing?
We're working our way steadily and, frankly, alarmingly quickly through the Man from U.N.C.L.E. films. I don't want them to be over. I'm having too much fun.
We've got a few more to go yet.
Mm-hmm.
Another month of Uncle. 2 months from the listener's perspective.
Wow. But yeah, so this is the Helicopter Spies. And let me tell you right up front, the Helicopter Spies, we've done a lot of things previously about how the titles do not marry up. In this case, shot one.
They've nailed it. Finally, they nailed it,
Easy.
boys.
Yeah. My first note says, uh-oh, although that's because the title card bills it as a village in Africa.
My first note is also, oh no.
However, my second note is, those are spies in a fucking helicopter, baby. We did it.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. The Helicopter Spies. And we start with Napoleon Solo and Ilya Kuryakin in a nice little, as the Internet Plane Database helpfully informs me, Bell 47G helicopter.
The Internet Plane Database.
Yeah, basically, if you want to find out what anything in a movie is, you just type Internet Thing Database, and there will be a thing. Like, if I want to identify the sex ute, right, from one of the previous Uncle movie, I just went to the Internet car movie database. I've been on the Internet Movie Firearm database for shit like this before. This is the hidden secret of all research. Is you just Google, that plus database, you'll find a website helpfully maintained by very nice obsessive people.
Good of you.
But so Solo and Kuryakin are in the helicopter because they're visiting a village in East Africa that has been attacked by one of those machines that you use to draw road markings. Some villain, some fiend, has drawn big red lines over all of these buildings.
It took me a minute to figure out those are meant to be laser burns. I just thought, somebody's gone at this with paint.
Yeah, bro got red lines. Don't worry about it.
It's kind of the same effect as. Do you remember I think it might be Goldfinger? No. It was the man with the golden gun, maybe. Where they blow up every one of. They blow a Chinese missile site.
Yes, they do.
The way that they do that effect is they have a guy in the front go, and then they turn up. They put a red filter on the lens. He just turns red because he's being hit by a laser. Much the same here. But the village has been sort of almost destroyed. There is everyone is dead apart from one dude, the one white dude, incidentally, since we are in East Africa. And they get to this one dude who is operating a radio and then has been hit by the laser. He has a big red sort of beam.
He's been really badly burned. He's very, very hurt. I looked it up on the Internet
sort of
Pain
delirious.
Database.
yeah, it's got a bunch of Schmidt's Sting Index stuff on there. But yeah, so he's sort of incoherent, although he does manage to say,
I should never have come.
I'm always saying this.
Because you get the big red line. And they go to try and evacuate him, but a Cessna, a little dual engine plane overhead, notices their transmission, and they're machine gunned in this hut. The guy dies.
They machine gun him, and then they fire lasers at him.
Yes, yeah. And they get sort of chased through the remnants of this village by the big line painting laser, and are able to escape it by sort of diving into water. But this is the point where we do the sort of fast motion Uncle opening sequence, and by this point, I don't know if it's just Stockholm syndrome, but I just genuinely have an affection for this. I'm that's my uncle.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah,
my uncle and yours.
There he is.
And you already know how these movies go because you've sort of listened to these, you've watched them with us. You can sketch it all out already, and it's easy, right? The weird line drawing laser has a beautiful daughter in an exotic location.
Yeah, of course it does. Yeah.
And Napoleon's gonna have to
shag
fuck
the
laser's daughter, and then the laser is gonna die in an ironic way.
They do it differently in this.
Napoleon isn't shagging anyone's daughters, and he hasn't for several movies at this point.
He's never living it down from me.
He straight up just doesn't be shagging
ever since Waverly
anymore.
set him up with his niece.
I should never have come. So they do the opening of this film differently, actually, because we go to an island off Greece.
We do.
And
with an entire second helicopter. We are spoiled for helicopters this
Which helicopter is this?
It's also a Bell 47G of a slightly different variety. Right. It doesn't have floats on it. I can give you the tail number if you want.
That wouldn't be necessary at this time. Thank you.
But Solo lands in a chopper.
No further questions.
And there's some dudes. There's some dudes in a cult who are chilling in robes.
Because we're aware now at this point in the 60s. It's the 68. We're aware that cults exist. And so the guys in weird robes are listening to a very old man who is sort of like meditating in total silence. And Solo gets out of the helicopter and, using the muzzle of his pistol, flips a bunch of their hoods down, revealing some very white hair until he gets the right guy. He gets his man, who is this guy with dark hair and a beard, and is like, "You're coming with me."
And this is Mr. Sebastian, who we are informed is a kind of legendary and extremely wanted criminal, especially a specialist in safe cracking, and he's hiding out here. And Robert Vaughn's like, "We've got a job for you. We'll give you amnesty if you do this thing for us."
This actor, by the way, is Bradford Dillman, who is great in this.
Yeah, he does a great job in this.
Fucking goes off. He's so good.
And it's also it's unusually good exposition for the man from U.N.C.L.E. to just be like, "Oh no, we're just going to introduce this character as he's on some cult shit in order to flee his 22 international arrest warrants." And Solo is going to coerce him into working with U.N.C.L.E.
This is my opinion. I know Alice doesn't agree, but I think the Man from U.N.C.L.'s films have gotten too good. I miss the goofy days of Spy with My Face or Operation Robot. It's too good. It's too professional. It's like when a YouTuber gets too big and then the production values get too high, and you're just like, I remember when it was Scrappy and she used to just film stuff in front of a bookcase. What happened? It's too good now.
Yeah, Robert Vaughn's not even the most well-paid person in U.N.C.L.E. anymore. I'm hearing.
I can't form a parasocial relationship with Robert Vaughn anymore.
Fortunately, we got it in early. I can form one with Ilya at this point.
Yeah.
So we find out that this cult, by the way, it's called the Third Way, and they believe that when this old man speaks, he's taken a vow of silence for 20 years. When he speaks, they will inherit the earth. And he seems like he's about to say something, and then he catches sight of Solo, and he's like, no.
He thought he had something to say, and then he decided against it. Mood. Honestly, I'm all like this all the fucking time. I was like, nah.
Yeah. So they put him on a plane with Waverly, where a couple of things happen. First of all, Sebastian takes one look at this laser and he goes, "Oh yeah, it's a prism beam. I tried to make one of those once," which is such a great thing to casually drop into conversation. I used to be a supervillain. Didn't work out for me, but
It's so good to be a reformed supervillain, man. It's so fucking funny. It's Hank Scorpio
I was
shit.
a super criminal, and then I was just like, well, I think I'll just do normal crime. It's easier.
Yeah, it's great. I was a supervillain. I got paroled. I got reformed. Is a really
to regular crime.
I used to have a volcano base, but it's not really my scene anymore.
The rent was insane.
I was dropping people in the lava for displeasing me all the fucking time. But honestly, nowadays unions, you can't do it. Can't do it anymore.
Yeah, I mean, because they changed the hench app.
They did,
The loud projector turns on. Waverly fucking just roasts Sebastian for being a STEM lord. It's such a great patrician
really
thing
funny.
as he gets it in the thing, and he's just he's going through his CV.
A most efficient, criminally oriented mind with advanced degrees in engineering, physics, and chemistry. Apparently, you avoided the humanities.
Yeah, why didn't you take any humanities classes?
Fucking STEM cunt.
The value of a liberal arts education is nothing now. It's ridiculous. It's insulting.
So anyway, they say somebody has developed this thing, a thermal prism, and if it ever gets put into orbit, then that's a super weapon, because then you can't just laser a village, you laser a whole country.
Dr. Karusi.
Yeah.
Dr. Karusi, the famous Iranian, or Persian, they say, scientist. And at this point, tactical Ilya enters.
Yeah,
and we can tell he's tactical because he's wearing a like a 1942 frog skin pattern like tunic, which goes for about 700 quid for an original.
And a white silk scarf, which kind of makes his neck area a massive target, but whatever.
Mm-hmm. And he pulls down a slide of the most unhelpful map I've ever seen, of which the salient points are Dr. Karusi's house, rocks next to the house, maybe it's got a security system we don't know, and it's got like a guard tower.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, you and I are going to parachute out of this very plane right now, and we're going to go and we're going to infiltrate this shit.
It's totally spy shit. It's like, we're going to start the mission by jumping out of the plane we're currently on.
Yeah, it's sick.
Like you are like the world's greatest safecracker, and you know the safe has a beautiful daughter that you're going to seduce, make love to.
So we're going to get you into Dr. Karusi's house. You crack open the safe, steal the thermal prism. Bob's your uncle. The world is saved.
Yeah, job's good.
And incidentally, my boy Napoleon Solo, he's going to be on the inside,
turning off the security system.
And we're going to cut to him now. And Solo arrives at the airport in Tehran.
Yeah, he does.
Which they still spell with 2 E's. And we get, first of all, I was like on the fence, are they going to do the OSS Son du Set thing of he goes into the airport and someone goes, he just left, and follows him. And they fucking do it.
Yeah. But
that's not even the best part. He hangs up the phone to like make his contact. He leaves, and a guy wearing the traditional Iranian fez ?
Traditionally,
and wide sort of like handlebar mustaches goes, he just left, and enters the fucking scene. Fez first.
I love this guy.
Incredible look on this guy.
Yeah, he's jacked as well. The character's name is Hassan.
Hello, sir. Just a big guy walks in his
character.
Wonderful.
It's something that stood out to me is just like we're in Iran, and the way that the film portrays Iran is like totally normal. Like nowadays, I feel like if we cut to Iran as a location, first of all, we would have the non-copyright dude just being like, and then also there'd be like a yellow filter on it. There'd be a lot of people walking around in robes, like the streets would be full of sand. We cut to Iran and it's just like a normal country. There's just people like walking around.
Yeah, this is of the time when, you know, trads like to go, we'll see women wear chadors now, but back then they used to wear miniskirts. Wasn't it better? But yeah, one of the sort of like attendant things of that is you can make a Man from U.N.C.L.E. movie, set it there, and be like, you don't need to do anything other than Southern California. Incidentally, the actor who plays this guy, H.M. Winnett, apparently still alive, 95 years old.
Oh shit! Is he Turkish or Iranian or even close?
Born Chaim Winnett in Detroit, Michigan, so I think it's fair to say no. But so my notes, this is the first note that I wrote in all caps of many that I wrote in all caps because I really enjoyed this movie, where it was just like, yo, what's up? But so Solo goes, he's got his instructions on where to go. He gets to the address, the door is padlocked, and I go, the padlock has a beautiful daughter. You're gonna have And right as I write that joke down to make, he looks across the square and sees a beautiful woman in a very short dress, and I'm like, fuck's sake,
that's
the padlock has a beautiful daughter. That's the padlock's daughter.
Solo sees an American blonde and is immediately distracted from his mission, which very relatable.
I think it's so funny as well, because it's like this is Napoleon Solo business mindset, right? You arrive in a location, if you see someone stare dead at you, assume that they're your contact, go over and introduce yourself by name.
How do you open? Tell them your name.
Yeah. Hello, my name's Napoleon Solo. I'm a spy. I think we here to meet me. And she goes, no. But he was.
Yeah, and Hassan appears behind him and knocks him out.
Yeah. Banger.
He has like a blackjack sap. So I'm not counting this as an Uncle Chop. And in fact, this is an Uncle Chopless movie, as best I remember. Normally I stop it and I record the time for a first Uncle Chop. There isn't one in this. But so
tragedy. He
gets knocked unconscious. Meanwhile, Ilya and Sebastian make worst parachute landing ever, asked to leave airborne school.
Yeah, they fucking suck. They just fall over and it's terrible.
And they're forced to evade two guys who, although we see them only dimly, are wearing sick guard uniforms.
Yeah.
My second all caps notes. Do you want to try and describe this fit, Dev?
Oh, I'm afraid I don't have the screenshot to pull back from.
The fit for this is what I would describe as sort of polyester navy full tracksuit, but with like white V chevrons over the chest.
Yeah.
And a navy beret with a big white chevron on that too. They look like I don't even know what they look like, but they look great. It looks like a sort of knockoff Adidas effect. Meanwhile, Solo wakes up, and this American blonde is like very apologetic about having knocked him unconscious. And she's like, in a very sort of waspy way, my fiance is in Turkish prison. She says Turkish prison every time.
It's very funny.
He's in Turkish prison, which is worse than regular prison.
In Turkey.
The movie Midnight Express is going to come out about this in a while, next decade.
This is Annie, and she says, "Oh, you're an uncle agent. You're working with Mr. Sebastian, the cult guy. He framed my fiance and put him in Turkish prison. His cellmate is the brother of this big guy Hassan, who's a circus strongman, because of course he is. He's on some Miska and Grishka shit.
Yeah, and so Hassan opens up his 6 knives case.
Solo goes Sigma on this shit. He sits up and goes, frankly, I don't care who you are or who you are. I've got a mission to do and I'll get distracted. And he goes to the door and they go, no, you're going to experience our silly bullshit now. And he's like, oh, for fuck.
You have to do it. It's very sort of Fatima Blush. They've taken the bullets out of his gun. Hassan opens his 6 knives briefcase.
Gun on them because he goes to leave and she gets in the way of the door and Hassan's there too. And Napoleon Solo just takes his gun out and he's like, look, I don't want to hurt anyone. And it's like, fucking hell, when did Napoleon Solo not have time for the Man from U.N.C.L.E. series?
He's just like, look, I've got shit to do now, all right?
This is the one day of the year where I do work. Like he went to rehab after the events of The Spy with My Face. He doesn't call pussy from the office anymore or drink before he comes in. He's business now. He's on the grind.
Yeah, so someone put him in a chastity cage in between movies, I swear to God.
It was Ilya.
It was me.
Hassan opens his 6 knives briefcase, the briefcase in which he keeps his 6 knives.
Indeed. That's right.
And
fucking Annie's like, he used to be a circus actor. And you go, oh, for fuck's sake.
He's going to do the fucking knives thing.
He's going to throw the knives.
And he does.
It's really funny that the side characters in this film keep trying to remind Robert Vaughn that this is the Man from U.N.C.L.E. Like, we do goofy, silly shit on the side. And he's like, I have a gun. Get the fuck out of my way.
Get out of my way.
Doesn't work. To be interrogated by a kind of waspy woman in this kind of patrician, well, I don't want to hurt you, but my friend has a temper sort of way.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, he throws all of his knives, goes to retrieve one of the knives, and Solo just kicks him in the dick. And sort of almost again, absolutely no tolerance for this kind of bullshit.
At this point, a MILF walks in and shoots Hassan dead. And Solo's reaction is like, damn, sucks to suck. she this other woman, Azalea, helps him escape in her Rolls-Royce Silver Ghost, which rules. As he gets in, Solo's just like, did you have to kill him? And she just goes, guess we'll never know. Perfect. Yeah. This is Azalea. This is his actual contact.
And okay, there was no way they were going to get a Rolls-Royce to look fast, but they really do a lot with fast motion to try and convey, she's a dangerous driver.
Really funny. Really just visually not a fast car. Just the sped up footage, so good.
So she briefs him, being his real contact, and she goes, yeah, you're going to have to pretend to be an American businessman with a mysterious past. But Dr. Karusi is very, very astute, and he'll see through if you make the slightest mistake in any way. They get to his house.
Oh, also, she's his wife.
Yeah. And let me tell you, this house has some decor. We're talking about sort of one piece of patterned wallpaper and a big standing statue. And she just leaves Solo in the sort of foyer for a bit, and they do the bit from You Only Live Twice again, where they're just like, oh yeah, we're just shooting fucking hella X-rays at this man's balls. We are annihilating this motherfucker's sperm count in order to establish how armed he is. And the answer is, he fucking isn't even. He just ditched the gun, even though they gave him his bullets back. He's just got like the sole metal they find on him is pocket change, keys, and like 2 fillings, which is very funny.
Ilya and Sebastian, meanwhile, are sneaking around outside, waiting on like the border of the estate. Some goons find them, and Ilya fights them, and Sebastian notably does not help at all.
Yep, I wrote Star Trek like, as soundstage.
Yeah, it's very really? Star Trek. It's cute.
Sebastian, like, literally, he stands there, like, sort of like mopping his sweat with a handkerchief and going like, the violence is your department, darling. He is sort of somewhat effeminate coded in an interesting way here. But so Solo is sort of like captured in the James Bond way of like, here is your luxurious quarters, dinner's at 8. He comes down for dinner.
Yes. Listen, I thought that we had peaked on scene entrances with the fucking Count in the previous one, where he just walks in and goes, I am the Count.
Not even close. Ultimate luxury has not been attained yet. This is
maybe one of the top 10 like entrances I've ever seen in any movie, genuinely. Because this guy, Dr. Karusi, who he's got this little tiny mustache with the flicks and everything. He's like bald. He's got these really intense eyes. He comes down on a chairlift in the middle of the room, sat down, pushing for like a lever,
like an elevator, like a lift. And the best part about this is he's smoking a cigar. He's holding a handkerchief in the same hand. He's totally relaxed. And then when the lift gets to the bottom, it very visibly fucks up and like jolts him a bit.
Still in the movie.
The 2 best parts about this are A, that was the take they used, and B, he does not flinch at all. It just perfectly no sells.
And he
great.
Stands up and he goes, Napoleon Solo, I presume. And Solo's response is the classic like shot of him staring, and then he like glances away for a second and looks back again. Which is my favorite thing that Solo does, is just that slight moment of, you seeing this shit? And then back to seriousness.
It's meant to be Iranian. He's not. He's white.
He does
not
sort of
Iranian.
like. No, this is John Dana, who did a lot of like westerns, and curiously was most associated with like Soviet methods of acting teaching. He was big into his Stanislavski.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So he had trained with like the Moscow Art Theater, and in order to like, I guess, do this. But he does the sort of like classic villain thing of being like, that's fucking James Bond. I know who you are.
You are fucking James
really
Bond.
Funny. Yeah.
We also get like a hint from him that he's involved in a sexual scandal with some of his own students.
Yeah. Because the way that he approaches this is, okay, well, we're now negotiating for which of the superpowers wants to buy the prism thing from me. I will get very wealthy and very powerful off of this, which is as well, right? Because my wife is the only woman who stands by me after Operation U-Tree.
Bro is generally like his villain.
I'll just do the drop.
On the face of it, their allegations were ludicrous. Allegations concerning anonymous phone calls to young ladies.
The deep state have accused me of being a nonce, but they'll all see when I've got my space laser. Yeah, all right.
Escape the Matrix. The
Matrix will come for you one of these days.
He is also smoking a cigar,
Young ladies.
Very, very Andrew Tate maneuver. All his cars have been seized. He's in a Romanian prison. He's in Romanian prison. I don't want to hear about you and your dodgy mates creating a thermal prism in space.
The thermal prism. It's poor guy shit.
The government gives you that thermal prism for free.
At this point, somebody goes, oh, Mr. Solo, your wife is here. And because he isn't James Bond, he's like, oh, yes, I won't just immediately go, wife? What? And in runs Annie, who's like, I'm Napoleon Solo's wife. Hello, dear. And Karusi's like, oh, I guess I won't show you the thermal prism right now because you obviously want to hang out with your wife. Cool, whatever. Ascend into the ceiling.
It's interesting.
And Mia gets back on his
he goes back up. Yeah, he gets
Without
back
his
on
wife, he
his
leaves her
dipshit
there.
elevator.
No, she's lounging. She's not even doing shit in the scene. She's just there.
Mhm. She gives him like a neck massage,
right.
which Solo is scandalized by. Also, Solo is like so impatient this whole movie. He's like, show me the prison. Show me the prison. Why aren't we looking at the prison now? And he's like, no, Mr. Solo, how delightfully louche. Please let me tell you about
please, let's engage in some like
I've been DMing.
villain and spy banter. And he's like, no, I'm here to do a fucking mission. Can we get on with that shit?
Like, come on, mate, come on. I'm fucking. Let's have a gander.
I want to like transpose this Solo back to earlier movies. If you had tried to play full human-sized chess with this Solo, he would have run across the board E4 to King's Bishop and chinned you.
I think at some point between the last movie and this one, Sandy from the old film sat down and had a word with him. Was like, if you're fucking late to dinner again, we are through. And he's like, I'm not breaking it. I'm going to do it. He's a changed man.
In fairness,
Solo actually trying.
He's had Adderall and he's just like, right.
In fairness to Karusi, he immediately goes into his control room and he's like, right, the Russian one will be along in a minute, so upgrade all of the security, find out what they're saying to each other. And of course, we see that Sebastian and Kuryakin are like making their way across like this minefield and like climbing onto the roof and welding through the roof.
Annie immediately rats Solo out to Karusi.
Yeah, she does. There's a hysterical joke. I can't explain why I find it so funny.
It's really good.
She gets on the intercom and she's like, "Oh, can I see Dr. Karusi, please?" And as soon as she shuts it off, the door opens. He's right fucking there. She's
it's
been watching
so funny,
like an absolute nonce.
She's like, "Wow, that was fast. I didn't know doctors still made house calls." And he goes, "I was there for some time." And then immediately starts trying to nonce her, and it's like,
yeah,
I don't think
he approaches her in a sort of like nonchalant fashion.
True.
Yeah, he's not beating the allegations.
I think your ass was DMing those students, mate. I gotta be honest with you. It's so funny to imagine like sliding into DMs is such a low stakes thing to do, right? But this is 1968, and he's like, I was sending letters to underage students. It's like, bro, you can't have like a pen and quill to put this shit together. You're like, further to my previous message, attach Polaroid of my dick and balls.
You up, but the U is like fucking longhand, like a monk.
Telegram from Dr. Karusi. You up, stop.
It's on a rotary phone. Like, can you describe the feat to me? For fuck's sake. What is the situation with the feet?
Oh, I'd be so fucked if anyone asked me that, man. Like, what do you say? I was like, normal style, good, pretty good.
I don't know. Fine,
standard,
I guess.
Standard type feet.
So, but she pulls a gun on him, but he has like had the bullets taken out of it. The second sort of like gun debulletization in this movie.
And she's also like, Napoleon Solo is a spy, and he's like, yeah, I know.
He's like, yeah, obviously.
Yeah. And so she immediately folds and she's like, okay, well, just so long as you like give me Sebastian. He's like, don't know who that is.
Yeah,
give me Sebastian so I can get my brother out of Turkish prison.
Beyonce, indeed.
Out of Romanian prison.
Out of Romanian prison. And he's like, yes, okay, if you do something for me. Now tell me about this feet situation.
Solo and Azalea are trapped in a room that's slowly filling with sand.
Yeah. And he says, first of all, I love the line, turn on the sand.
It's really fucking good.
Yeah.
And then he turns to Annie and is like, yeah, this used to run on water, but that's a fucking commodity here in the desert, so we turned it into sand instead.
Water is a precious commodity in the desert, so we converted this device to sand, which means he bought like the Uncle Agent drowning device out of a catalog.
Like, this is aftermarket additions to a killing device. He's like, yeah, we bought this out of the catalog. It ran on water, but honestly, we've not got enough water.
He modded his thing to turn it into a sand trap.
He used to run on sparkling water.
Yeah.
There's also this fascinating line that we somewhat skipped over a little bit, where Celia is showing Solo around the shop, and she shows him to the fucking room where the safe is, and then immediately tries to move him on with the line, perhaps you'd like to see the doctor's collection of poison mushrooms. And I was like,
his toxic treasure.
Yeah, fuck, I would. It's on an island between fucking Japan and Russia.
I think about it was his toxic treasure so often. But yeah, so
Rami Malek, I'm sorry, man. You just
no, it's bad. But so now seeing that Azalea has betrayed him and is like getting sanded up with him, he delivers another baffling line. It was hard to get a good drop of this, but it was
I should have known never to trust a woman who was always on time.
Yeah, fascinating.
What?
Additionally, during this sequence, I wrote that right. My note is this fucking guy has limitless swag. Because what happens is one of his guards comes up to him and does the classic, like, oh, I'm sorry, I failed you one time, sir, thing, right? He was like, two of our guys got knocked out in the desert. And Karusi's like, well, why didn't you fucking tell me about this? And he's like, we didn't want to bother you. We thought we'd take care of it in a minute. And he goes, anyone can make a mistake. And then pulls out a fucking engagement box made of solid gold, which opens it up, points at the guard. The guard takes the single pill that is within, eats it, dies instantly. And Karusi turns back to Annie and goes, but not just anyone can work for me. And I was like, oh, fuck!
Incredible.
Like super hot fire audience being like, oh, shit!
But also pointless.
What management style is that?
You had a fucking solid gold tiny box with one pill in, and the guard knows what he has to do. Like, how often has this come up, brother?
And he just does it. He doesn't even look nervous. He's just like, well, fair enough. You got my ass there.
He's like, you got me, sir, first fair.
What? I would have put it under my tongue and pretended to die and then walked out later.
If you put it under your tongue, it like gets absorbed more quickly and you get bigger tits.
Yeah.
So
I'm always taking the pill that kills me instantly sublingually, definitely.
It like pans down to me totally dead on the floor, but I have F cups.
I'm putting some water on the pill that kills you instantly, and I boof again. It doesn't really do anything extra, but it's kind of a rite of passage.
It's more of a tradition.
It's just interesting. Dead on the ground, completely dead.
This transition shit got me taking pills in an interesting way.
I boof on the pill that kills me instantly. I hit the ground. They go to check my pulse. We're like, they're already stone cold, but I've got fucking knockers. What about that? What about that, Brandon fucking Cronenberg? Put that in your fucking movies.
Yeah.
That says a lot about society when you think about it. They should let us direct a movie.
We did. It was called Casino Royale 1967.
Oh, yeah. They should let us do another one. I think we've earned it.
So Ilya and Sebastian do Mission Impossible shit.
She's fucking crying.
So Kuryakin and
Kuryakin.
They do Mission Impossible shit. They lower Sebastian down on a rope because there's like sensors on the floor, and he breaks into the safe.
This is the only time in the entire franchise anyone has cared about stealth, and it's actually really good. And plus, because he like lowers him above the like alarm floor, we're now the kind of fucking nerds that when we watch Mission Impossible, we're gonna go, they ripped that bit off of 1968, the helicopter spy.
We will.
Guy who's only watched the helicopter spies. Get a lot of helicopter spies vibes from this.
All of the infiltration scenes, by the way, are accompanied by like guys telling Karusi that like various circuit breakers are going off until he goes down to fix it himself. This is essentially about a guy trying to troubleshoot his smart home.
Yeah, like, straight up.
He's like, the light bulbs aren't flashing the right colors or whatever.
Ilya breaks into the control room and turns off the sound and like murders a man.
Spider-Man, turn off the sand. He fully just kills a guy. Annie is like back on board on the basis of please don't shoot me. And the two run into each other literally around a corner. Sebastian opens the safe because he's a master safe cracker, takes the fucking prism, and then his screwdriver falls on the thing and sets off the alarm. Which causes Karusi to like come in and be like, oh, that's why my fucking smart home isn't working. Only to get immediately gunned down in cold blood. Killing number 2 that Azalea does, because again, ice cold.
I thought Sebastian shoots Karusi.
I think Sebastian does it.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, Sebastian does. Excuse me.
And then we get the most fucking bullshit, like, as he's dying, the alarm starts going off, and Azalea goes, he has a dead man's switch in his heart, and the base is going to self-destruct. And it's like, what?
No, the line is even better, because Azalea's like, he told me many times, you can take it with you. Which is such a fucking, like, it puts you in mind of so many things that have happened in Karusi's life. He's just been like,
he's done now. Despite all the work that we've done to set him up as the villain of the film,
no,
he's just
gone.
Dead. He's dead.
He's just fully dead. Yeah. Which is great.
It's good. Yeah, it's really good. We're at like the 30-minute mark, and I was like, oh fuck, I thought that was the main villain.
Yeah, no.
So they flee the house, which explodes, and then Sebastian's like, fucking gotcha. You thought that guy was the main villain of the movie? No, it's me.
Nah, it was all a setup.
I'm actually way better.
The cult that you thought was a weird throwaway gag at the start? No, I'm actually the head of the cult, and we're going to fucking take over the world. And it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's genuinely, it's a twist that I didn't see coming.
No, not at all.
A rarity for me. And so what's really funny is that Annie gets to express her opinion about this and gets slapped down.
I'm so sorry, Alice. That's such a fucking nerd thing to say. It's a twist that I didn't see coming, which is a rarity for me. It's like fucking soy jackass. I'm not even the most highly, foresighted person on Kill James Bond. But so Annie says,
you know what I think? I think you people are strange, really strange.
Which, okay, fine.
Yeah, but his response is so fucking funny.
Just brutally, like, out of all bounds of acceptability.
I don't know who you are, but I have a feeling you probably deserve whatever happens to you.
just like, fuck you.
Yeah.
I don't even know who you are, and I'm gonna kill you because you seem annoying. And like,
banger. His plan, by the way, is he's like, all right, listen, I tried to make one of these doomsday devices before. I feel like I mentioned that. But now I've got one that actually works, and I just need to go put it in space, and then we're going to hold the world to ransom and create. We will demand a national homeland for our cult.
Yep.
And I wrote, no comment.
No comment.
It's worked out well in the past.
Hey.
That's right. So they tie them up. They put a bunch of explosives on the boat that's going to meet their contact boat with Waverly on it. Solo tries to do slightly smug, like, hey, you wouldn't expect that there would be like explosives on this boat, would you? And Sebastian just goes, you wouldn't? I would. Just fucking, he's serving.
And I wrote, this guy swagged up too.
The library is open and he is reading every motherfucker.
You wouldn't?
But so...
And additionally, so they send these fuckers off on the boat, and naturally, Waverly is somewhere. I sort of lost track of what was happening.
He's on like the bridge of the big boat.
Yeah, and Waverly, as is his one, is like, blow that shit up.
Yeah, he's like, they don't signal back, and he's like. And the captain goes, do you want to fire a torpedo at them? He's like, yeah.
He hesitates for like,
no hesitation.
Like 2 seconds maybe, and it's like, yeah.
It's like, yeah, I want to kill all my dudes. Don't give a shit. They blow up the thing. Obviously, they get free just in time to jump over the side. And Waverly turns a spotlight on them and goes, you're in big fucking trouble if you don't have that prism. You're never going to see daylight again. And I'm just like...
Waverly's such a cunt.
Waverly in this film is like... Waverly's decided to do his job. Everyone in this film decided to show up for work and just like, let's get this fucking shit over with. Like,
it's really impressive, actually. They're all just like, this is what Uncle is capable of when they genuinely try.
And then we kind of go back to a little bit more of a traditional Uncle, because we go back to New York. And Waverly goes,
see the horrible looking New York
Sebastian has a beautiful ex-wife in LA.
It's not a daughter. They changed it. They fucking changed it.
Go and see her.
They swapped up the fucking program. Waverly's got this MILF ex-wife or some shit. Let's go see what.
I really love this scene.
I love her,
Solo breaks in and turns the light on. Immediately, she's there to be. She perfectly understands the way this is supposed to go down. She's like, yeah, haven't seen him in years. It's very annoying. Used to be a supervillain. I was probably in on that too. Now I'm not. And so I was like, you don't seem very perturbed by this. And she goes, yeah, no, it's like this literally all the time. The FBI show up, the CIA show up, the Better Business Bureau show up. They all ask me the same questions. The only thing weird about you is that you're climbing in the window at like an unusual time of night.
It's so fucking
also,
funny.
they all fuck me.
Yeah.
Yeah. She has this like husky MILF voice, which obviously big tick in that column. And she's like
doming femboys on stream with us.
Yeah, the implication is that she is fucking getting domed off by whoever the FBI, the CIA, and the Better Business Bureau send.
Yeah,
24/7.
Yeah, she's just a MILF, right? And she's hanging out, and her entire thing is just fucking everyone they send to her. 2 points. Mm-hmm. First and foremost, you have skipped over a major thing that occurs that caused me to have heart palpitations.
I'm still seething about being called a soy jack as well.
Well, you don't say soy jack shit then. I don't know. It's not my responsibility. Clean your own house up first before you look at mine. What happens in this scene is the light turns on, right? She's not centered in this shot. What is centered in this shot is a fucking huge bust of Nietzsche. And she's just leaning against it. And I will go, what? And that just is not like, that's not touched. That's not explained or anything. That's just something the prop department had on hand. It was like, yeah, whatever, that'll do. And her line to him, I found so fun is she's like, oh, it's been a while since Uncle's come by. I thought you guys had forgotten about me. And Solo goes, no, we never forget. And she's like, oh, could you? Could you? I'm quite sick of this.
Good.
And then she tries to fuck him, and he's like, nearly gives into it, so close, and he's like, "Oh, fuck this," and just like leaves.
This is Julie London, by the way. Good. And if you want to look up Julie London, her headshot on Wikipedia, good lord!
All right, let's have a go. Oh
my!
We'll get this one live.
God.
Hello.
Yes.
What the fuck? That's such a good headshot.
Whoa.
Wow. Yeah, all right. As long as you're not driving right now, just look up Julie London. Right, and if you are, get whoever's in the passenger seat to do this for you.
Pull over to the side of the road.
Yeah, even if turn on your hazards and just stop, and then pull this shit up.
Julie London, because they got like a legit 40s femme fatale, like 20 years on. And she's great. She really sells
such a good. I might find a backdrop that looks like that for when I'm doing portraiture. Actually,
yeah. So you know, obviously, I'm Napoleon Solo. Sexually assertive older women scare me.
Mm-hmm.
You are a small and weak man to refuse such MILF pussy.
Imbecile.
He's like, he's fucking. I don't know whether it's the chastity cage or what, but he runs out of the room, and then she immediately goes back in to her bedroom where a shirtless dude, like incredibly ripped shirtless dude, is in her bed reading comics, and she just like picks up the phone to her husband and she's like, yeah, we got another one, Napoleon Solo this time, and we get this fucking incredible portrait of a marriage sort of thing where both of them are getting touched up by other people and they're still married to each other, but in clearly like a not sexual way where they're like, yeah, no, can you just let me get back to fucking the person that I'm fucking? But like in an administrative way. And also,
they're just on the phone. It's like split screen between the two of them, and they're on the phone telling each other about their fucking plans while each of them are getting their ears tongued by like a hot younger person. And it's like,
I want to talk about.
This is what I'm going for. This is ideal.
Yeah, let's talk about this. I'd also
like to talk to her about her.
This woman got the hench gig of a lifetime because she was like, she applied for a bunch of shit and she got PA to this guy while also being the horniest, subbiest woman in the fucking world. She just like me for real because I'll just play the drop.
Yes, sir. I like the way you said that. It has a nice tone of respect, efficiency.
Yes, sir.
Keep it up.
She is so into this and so into him. Mm-hmm. She's yes, sir.
Mm.
It's Also, by the way, the whole time he's doing this, he is wearing a white double-breasted suit. It's immaculate.
Fantastic. Just incredible.
Unlimited
swag to
grip
pieces.
on this man.
But we get some uncharacteristic violence for the series because goons chase Solo and he just fucking shoots them.
Yeah, well, the thing is, he calls up his security and he's like, get the men stationed outside my wife's house. It's a very funny thing to say. This is like, with this sort of resignation that, like, get all of them to, like, put their clothes back on and then have them kill Napoleon Solo.
Give the boys stationed at my wife's house 10 minutes warning and then ask them to go and kill Napoleon Solo, please.
Yeah, and they chase him and they try and kill him with a grenade launcher and he shoots a couple of them. It's wild.
You see that they're members of the cult as well because all the cult members have white hair.
Yes. He like kills a couple of them and seeing their white hair, he like takes their business card, their ID card. He like hears on their radio where their next gig is on Hench. And he's like, right, I will dye my hair to blend in and go to this. And incidentally, there's a really funny, stupid detail that I don't know if anyone else noticed here, which is that he's looking at their white hair to think about it. He pulls out part of his own hair to see what color it is.
Fuck, I didn't notice that. That's good.
He legitimately like pulls out one of his own hairs at the temple. Like, oh, it's black. Okay,
damn, that's crazy.
Like, get some hair dye.
So he proposes as a member of the cult, and he goes to a briefing, and Mr. Sebastian like Skypes in, and he's like, "Yo, we're gonna steal a rocket, lads."
You're so underselling where this meeting takes place, right? Because where they are at is like a fucking like dive bar manned by this lass who's they all just call Mum. Really, really interesting. Like Solo walks in and Mum is immediately just like, all right, listen, you're too late to get breakfast. And he's like, oh, what a shame. To which one of the guys is like, oh, Mum, can you turn the set on? I want to see the fucking TV. And she's like, and she complains the whole time. She's like, oh, yeah, turn the set on, make the breakfast. Oh, Jesus, it's tough being Mum.
Kathleen Freeman, who made a career doing basically this role.
I think I've seen her in other stuff doing this. Like,
yeah, because fucking Sebastian goes, yeah, we're going to steal a rocket. It's being transported on this like 3-car train. Don't worry about it. And as they leave, this one sort of like main henchman who we've been briefly introduced to in a previous scene, pissing Sebastian off, goes, you just wait, Mum. I'm going to get enough money. I'm going to take you out of this place. And she goes, I like it here. And he goes, all right. And then leaves. And then as he leaves, Mum goes, fucking weirdos. And that's like the end of the scene. She doesn't
she calls him a creep.
Back.
It's great.
It's so fucking good.
Solo ducks into a bathroom to call Ilya and say, hey, he was Skyping in from a TV made by this one company, but he gets cut off before he can say much. Ilya like tracks this down and figures out that like one of these Skype like telepresence things has been sold to a company by the name of
an organization known as Three-Way Incorporated.
Well,
nice.
Who like working out of like an abandoned movie theater.
I'm hoping to organize something in a similar vein in a few weeks, but and also he's being followed by Annie and another identical brother of Hassan.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, both of these guys are mute, by the way, which is going to be important.
Yeah.
So what they're trying to do is a heist of this rocket. Solo gets sort of drawn at random to be the guy who actually has to get onto the train and do it, which means we get a third helicopter, spoiled for choice.
Yeah. Helicopter spies. We did it.
Helicopter
they had
spies.
a deal with a helicopter. Like a helicopter company emailed them and was like, greetings, YouTuber. You are getting great engagement. We would love to sponsor you. Like Raid Shadow Legends. Like
Another favorite detail, as they are laying the groundwork for this heist, there's a guy who cuts both the phone wires and then tears the phone itself off the wall.
It's sick.
Which
a bit redundant.
I love. Belt and braces. And here's the thing. You know what I always say about a fight on top of a train?
Yeah,
is that it adds a letter grade to any movie.
Yeah, that's right.
they have a bit of a fight on the top of a train. They punch out some of the guards on the top of the train. Solo like gets dropped onto the train, separates the missile car, and it like makes good his escape. What's really funny is that like after they've sort of abstracted this missile and they've got it into a truck, Carl takes him aside and does some like middle management shit on him.
It's really good.
Where he's like, you did a really good job, but like I can't be seen to like show favoritism. You understand how it is, which is just like he's been reading the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People like in bed in between doing cult shit, and I really appreciate
in between
that
fucking his boss's ex-wife.
Yeah,
it's a tough job,
exactly.
But someone's got to do it.
Mm-hmm. So Ilya breaks into this movie theater, and what's really great is Ilya, David McCallum is like blonde hair, and so the first guy he sees who has bleached hair does a double take as if he's trying to like decide whether Ilya is like blonde passing enough to get into the fucking location.
Well, you'll never be blonde passing if you start after 20.
I'm often saying this. So Ilya beats him up, experiments with some suspension bondage. He just like hangs him off of a cable in the back of the theater.
Yeah, bang.
And sneaks in, along with, followed shortly thereafter by Annie and like
Omar, I think is his name.
Uh-huh.
Don't get attached.
Yeah, buy the toys.
No, absolutely not.
So Ilya, they're having like lots of members of the cult are coming in, and they have like a briefing, which is it's a mystical disco cult.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting disco.
Yeah.
It's not the end of the world. It's just the end of the 60s.
Yeah, it's fucking sick. As Ilya walks out on stage in front of all these guys and goes, God, I hope this is right, Rob.
Brothers and sisters, the great throbbing of the third way embraces us.
I thought it was a weird line, frankly, but
yeah.
And then just like some hippie disco shit starts, and I'm like, "Yo, boys, what if we made a hippie Israel? What about that?" And I was like, "Yeah, okay."
I mean, in the 60s, apart from the wars, Israel kind of was hippie Israel, but it's also like a weirdly LGBT. Like she talks about like, oh, society has rejected you.
Send us. You're tired. You're automated. You're exploited. And I was like, okay.
It's like anti-capitalist, gay, disco cult. All of us would fall.
Where do I sign
now?
We would get into the.
I mean, if that PA lady's in it, I'm in.
And so
if I can fuck the boss's wife, I'll do basically any job.
100%. You have to be lining up with like all the other henchers, obviously. Aside from that,
it's a tough line.
But so Azalea immediately identifies Kuryakin and Annie and the Aksoy brother, and is like and captures them. And so they get taken in back, where undercover Solo is like guarding them. And at this point, Sebastian deploys some more management techniques, because he's like, hey, you guys did a great job on the missile. We're going to take the missile to the missile launch site. But you guys stay here. We got a little reward for you. At which point,
and it's broads.
A van full of, I can't think of a more sensitive way to describe them than cult hoes shows up.
Yeah, that's about it.
They've all got the bleached hair also. And what ensues is a henchman party in the Red Barrel room. And it literally is. There are red barrels in it.
It's sick. It's sick as hell. It rules.
It goes off.
Really funny. So Solo is like relentlessly pursued by women, and he's like, no, I can't. I don't have the keys to this thing. I mailed them to a girl. She,
Hey, it happens to the best of us.
Like a woman literally like pins him against a wall and is like, no, come on. And it's like, yeah, see how you like it, motherfucker.
And he doesn't. We cut to so right during a sequence, Ilya and the other two, Annie and What's His Chops, have been taken to the same location and left there for just long enough for like Solo to be like, hey guys, it's me, Solo. I'm also here.
I dyed my hair.
That's crazy.
Ilya, do you have the keys? Do you have the... And he's like, yeah, oh, no, sorry.
Ilya, for God's sake, do you have the fucking keys?
The fucking spare keys for the emergency.
Come on.
Thing. Come
on. He's like flicking his hand and like, come on, brother, you gotta come through for me on this. But Ilya doesn't have the keys, sadly. Only Waverly does. But the car leaves. Yeah, the car leaves with Sebastian in the front and Azalea. And Azalea is like, oh shit, I've got a tracking device put on me. And Sebastian goes, why the fuck didn't you notice that, you dipshit, you moron?
Yeah. And then he goes with the most resigned tone. Imagine which one of you did this
It's
in
so
the most like
funny.
back to Winnipeg
Right.
sort of like family holiday.
And Ilya just goes, does it
turning
matter?
this car around.
Yeah, giving himself away. Ilya goes, does it matter who put the thing down?
Yeah.
And he goes, it doesn't.
Then he takes the tracking device off her, puts it on Omar, and does a sideways ejector seat, ejecting Omar onto the freeway and killing him.
This man has 2 buttons on the dashboard of his car. One of them says ejector seat, and it causes Omar to leap out of the car sideways.
Yeah.
the low budget sideways ejector seat
Love it.
is honestly my favorite
It's so
part.
funny
because
to have
Like easier to install than a vertical one.
one ejector seat, and it's the rear passenger seat.
Yeah.
This is more useless than the one from fucking Goldfinger.
If the guy with the gun sits behind the driver, as you'd assume they would, this is useless.
It's like...
Or if there's simply 2 of them.
Well, that was my one
matter,
seat.
Just like scare the shit out of the other one by being like, no, he's been fired into freeway.
Yeah, I've just scared the shit out of the guy sitting behind me with a gun. That's a great tactic.
Yeah, and then you put your finger over the other button and go, hey, this one might send you out. It doesn't. The other button is labeled gas, and it starts the gas, which, first of all,
We got
man
a
from Uncle's
gas-based
stable.
villain.
Thank God we've got some gas going in this one.
We love
Management secrets of the brain geniuses.
We love that gas.
You can't trust these people. They might not be loyal. So immediately the red barrel room starts filling with purple gas, which starts killing people. Solo is exposed by this woman because part of his hair dye washes off with champagne, and a gunfight breaks out that he escapes by virtue of everyone else being gassed to death. And at this point, he runs out and meets the third Aksoy brother. This one can speak, Kareem. And Kareem is, if anything, an even bigger dude, or seemingly. I mean, it's the same
It's
actor.
the same actor, but he's bigger. Like,
and he's
the guy that's been put in jail in Turkish prison. Or some
No, he's
shit.
not. No,
He's not.
No, he's
There's
not.
another one.
He's just the third one. He's been staking out.
4.
There's 4. He's been staking out this warehouse for 6 months, and Solo has just blown all of his shit. And then he gets a call from fucking Waverly. Solo does, which he takes on speaker, and Waverly goes, "Hey, third Aksoy brother or second Aksoy brother, fucking dead as shit. He got ejected sideways. You know what that does to a person? He's like mostly paced by now, and he got hit by like so many 1950s cars and the 60s cars, and those things are like built solid.
Yeah,
and the whole time Kareem is just like,
oh shit,
I see, yeah,
much to consider."
So they arrive at the
He says, "I will pay him back 1,000-fold," which I take to mean he's going to kill 1,000 of his brothers.
Yeah. So they arrive at the downtown headquarters of this cult. The rocket is going to be launched out of a normal building in downtown LA, which
this rocket is
it's like
so
hollowed out the
shit.
inside of a skyscraper. They're going to launch it from inside that, which
it's baller.
Great.
He literally, the line that he says is, it's probably not specifically this, but it's essentially, some of my techs cut a hole in the roof. And he's like, all right, cool.
We never see this hole.
So it's all you need.
My engineer's got a hole in the roof. And fucking he's like, but I mean, my understanding of a rocket is that there's a lot of like downward heat created.
Don't worry about it.
And we're on the same level as the base of the rocket. And he goes,
but he put a fence around it.
There's a fucking wall there, cunt.
Yeah, essentially,
Anyway,
the column goes, this is clearly a soundstage. And the actor goes, no, it isn't.
No, it isn't. I invented a kind of metal that will stop it. Bitch. So how about that? And he's like, huh.
Somebody must have been sending really annoying letters to the production of The Man from U.N.C.L.E. being like, actually, it's not realistic.
Solo does the best thing he's done in these movies yet. First of all, he goes back to the wife. He kicks her door in. She's in bed with a different dude who is playing solitaire.
Really funny.
Which is fucking hysterical. And he goes, call your husband. And she goes, I don't know. And so he gets emergency called back to headquarters and he leaves. She immediately gets on the phone. He, in the loudest thing I've ever seen outside of like a fan cam, kicks her door in. I want to see like a motion stabilized version of this where he's got fucking laser eyes. He slam kicks her door back in for the second time in a minute. And he's like, I knew you were going to do that.
Like, you fool.
He doesn't even get him on the fucking phone off of this shit.
He just traces the call.
It doesn't.
Cool.
Yeah, it doesn't work. It's really good.
But the entire time, this guy's still playing solitaire in her bed.
Yeah.
Like, unfazed. Yeah. Really good.
It's great. So he and Kareem are now on like a roaring rampage of revenge. They go to this building. They go in the front entrance, which we haven't seen before, and there's a gardener just working on...
What the fuck is this?
This was such a shot. Like, the reveal of this guy's face was so labored that I was like, who is this guy? Have I seen him before? Am I supposed to know who this is?
No. The vibe is, this man is Asian.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's
what you're meant to be
it's
terrified
like Rising
for.
Sun. It's just an Asian man.
It doesn't compute
and
to like...
kills him.
It doesn't compute to a modern viewer, because the upshot of this is meant to be, this man is like Japanese or some shit, and you're meant to go like, oh fuck.
Yeah, whereas obviously we're watching in a society that vaguely considers the Japanese to be commensurate with a human being, so it doesn't hit the same, really.
Yeah, he's just a dude, and then he just attacks with a flamethrower and is killed instantly. And it's
he turns around, and the like sort of watering thing that he has is a flamethrower, which means they stationed a flamethrower guy in the lobby to just pretend to water plants.
Yeah,
and the whole time, you know, he's thinking, I wish I could use the fucking flamethrower.
God, I hope I get a chance to use the flamethrower
of his life. He gets one burst off of the flamethrower and gets fucking shot.
Honest to God, if I was doing this like once every 15 minutes, I would probably turn around and unleash a flamethrower burst towards
just
like
setting
air.
the smoke alarm off.
I think maybe what happened is at some point in the production cycle, somebody just like obtained a flamethrower and was just like, we just use it. Like, we've got to find some way.
Yeah, it's like the bust of Nietzsche. They're like, well, fuck, we've got it. I mean, we'd be dipshits if we didn't.
You've been using that to like kill like stray flies and stuff. No insects in that building.
One of my fucking plants has slightly too many aphids.
so Solo and Kareem like bust in by virtue of Kareem forcing big doors apart with his hand.
Yeah, Solo doesn't do any fucking sneaking around. He goes in and opens fire. He's still like, I am ending this film.
Solo is looking to clock out.
Yes, yeah. And what's really funny is like Sebastian gets him on Skype again, and he's like, well, if it isn't Agent Dipshit. And Azalea, like the most sexually aroused you've heard her, goes,
It's very annoying.
It's like, oh fuck, he's really annoying. It's just, they break in. They have a gunfight.
Oh, yeah.
Kuryakin and Annie break out.
I'm so sorry. The old man's there, by the way. Just
yeah, he's there.
They brought the old man
They've
there.
stashed him in a corner in case he speaks.
He's just on a fucking pedestal off to the side. And it's so, I wrote, how do they move the old man? Does he like walk, or do they take him?
It's on casters.
And it's also so funny that this cunt is like 80, 90, and they're like, he hasn't spoken in 20 years. And I'm like, this motherfucker stopped speaking at age 60. And they're like, yeah, that's the prophet. Fuck it. My man lived a full life and then went, all right, I'm done.
Sebastian like is literally trying to launch the rocket. He's got Azalea on one side of him. Yes, sir. Go on the other side of him. He is like living deliciously. And then fucking Solo and Kareem come in and wreck his entire shit. He ends up in a switchblade fight with Solo, in the course of which he gets kicked into, like inside of the nose cone of the rocket, which is, there's two jokes you can make here. This is the one thing we didn't want to happen, and this is from Gravity's Rainbow. But either way, he gets kicked inside the rocket. Kareem gets fucking shot.
Yeah, Kareem dies.
Yeah, we encourage you to pause the podcast and make whichever joke you feel is appropriate.
Oh fuck. Shit, I just realized something. When I was looking at the old man, I was like, looks a lot like David Carradine. And you know why it looks a lot like David Carradine? Because it's his fucking dad, John Carradine.
No shit! Oh my god, it is!
On God, that's his dad. That's his
John
dad.
Carradine.
The man from
Richmond
Dad.
Reed Carradine. Why would you change that to John, idiot?
I don't know.
Carradine.
If he had spoken, but this is the thing that they say later. It's like, I wonder what he would have said if he had spoken. And the answer is, don't practice autoerotic asphyxiation.
There's when the fucking missile starts taking off, there's genuinely like a Lynchian shot of this old man. Like, it's really, really good. It's all red, and it like zooms in upward at him. And then eventually they just like they attack the control panel. It blows up the rocket, to which the old man responds by like looking vaguely miffed, shrugging, and then dying. It's like baller.
Gives up.
Sick.
Waverly shows up. The rocket has like explodes, killing Sebastian.
It's like stock footage of a Challenger disaster or some shit.
Everybody else gets arrested, I guess.
Yeah, Waverly and the boys arrive, and Waverly's like, right. And they just start chopping up the set with fire axes.
The moment Waverly arrives, some shit blows up.
So done.
Standard.
Everyone is so done with this movie. It's like, just fucking hack it apart with axes.
Waverly walks into the function, is like, all right, blow that shit up, kill him. Fuck this. I'm going home
with this.
My umbrella's got a cigarette lighter in it.
Check that out. What about this, motherfucker? How about that? And it just goes.
So we go back to New York for a postscript where Annie is like, yeah, you got him out of Turkish prison, Napoleon. Thank you. The fourth brother who like talks and is very erudite and is meant to be like the handsome one.
This is the fourth brother. Yeah, okay. Sorry.
He's like, yeah, he got out of prison, but also he has dumped you. By the way, I am very attractive. And he has left you the ring, which is kind of more of a ring for me vibe, actually. And Solo's like, yeah, why don't you just, make that happen? So they walk off arm in arm.
Yeah, bang.
And then on the way out, we get, I think, probably the funniest ending to a Man from Uncle movie since, well, I'm old and will die soon.
Really fucking good, this.
You go like sort of back to the grind, So Kuryakin is like, it comes up to him like, oh, some shit's going on. And he goes, well, what is it?
I plan to melt the polar ice cap.
Good, I think I'll take the afternoon off.
Napoleon! Fuck! The ice cap, man! The fucking ice cap!
Dude, this is all your fault!
You didn't stop it! You didn't stop the fucking ice cap plan!
Dave.
If you had seduced the beautiful daughter of the chairman of the board of fucking ExxonMobil, we wouldn't be in this shit.
Greta Thunberg's gonna fucking have your guts for garters, Solo. Rightly so.
And that's the helicopter spies. I really enjoyed this.
I think this one was. I'm enjoying these movies more and more and more.
Yeah.
They have not let me down a single time thus far.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, they're consistent. No. They're consistently good.
Mm.
And now they've got the title down as well. Like, nobody was in a green hat.
Oh god. I mean, they're doing their best. Yeah, the last three movies they've kind of gotten down.
Yeah, they've got into the groove now. They've got into the formula. The next one I remember being particularly goofy, and we have a special guest who wants to come on with that. And then there's the 15 years later affair.
How to Steal the World.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Then the 15 years later affair.
And then
The Man from U.N.C.L. brackets cancelled.
The Man from U.N.C.L. 2015.
That's right. But
we have a science-based
before
rating.
we get to any of those, we have a science-based rating system on the show.
We
The Scum
do.
system stands for SMARM, cultural insensitivity, unprovoked violence, and misogyny. So, how smarmy is this movie on a scale of 0 to 7?
I feel like it's lower than usual, especially because Napoleon Solo's like all business.
He's
in business mode right now.
And Volcel, well, I don't know if it's Vol, but he's something cell. And like,
it seems Vol.
Yeah, the fact that like his response to being woken up by a beautiful woman and this like henchman dude is just go, I don't care who either of you are, get out of the way. It's like
I don't care. I am in the CV6000.
He's lost the way.
Listening to any of this, yeah, and it's very I mean, I think can we give Sebastian points for Smart because he just deploys the shit out of that? You wouldn't, I would. It's
really good.
He's better, like.
Yeah, better at being Napoleon Solo than Napoleon Solo.
2, 3.
I would do 2.
All right,
I suppose.
Cool. Cultural insensitivity. I mean, these people aren't Iranian.
No, no one is Iranian. The Aksoy brothers, I'm not even sure if they are supposed to be Iranian, but like that's a white dude.
Yeah. Also, yeah. Well, are they meant to be Turkish? Like Turkish prison? Hence the fez. Maybe that does make sense.
Oh shit, that makes way more sense.
Maybe that does kind of work.
The traditional Turkish fez. Okay, fuck. I apologize for making the traditional Iranian fez joke.
Yeah, that would make sense, actually.
In that case, I guess we got to knock a point off for correctly associating one of the countries with a fez.
Yeah, how about 2, 3?
3?
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure. Unprovoked violence. Ilya does kill a motherfucker.
Ilya kills a motherfucker. He hangs a dude from his ankles. Solo shoots a couple of guys in the back.
It's definitely more violent than Uncle normally is.
Yeah. Again, sort of different tonal. They're different. Like it's more.
It's Uncle's Casino Royale brackets 2006.
It's not gritty. It's certainly not realistic, but it is more violent. And so I could even do like a 4 for this.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, Ilya does shoot that motherfucker dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck it.
Absolutely.
And misogyny. I feel like it's better than Uncle normally is.
Yeah. I mean, Annie is like doing all of her shit in order to get her man out of Turkish prison, and when that doesn't work out, that's immediately substituted with another man.
But she's resourceful and has goals, and one-ups the men occasionally. Like she doesn't go at the end. I'm actually going back to my family.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Both Azalea and the yes sir girl are like thoroughly submissive to Sebastian in both senses.
Mm-hmm.
On the other hand, Mrs. Sebastian rescues this movie from a much higher misogyny score because, older woman who fucks a lot is not exactly progressive, right? But for 1968 to be like, she is working her way through that entire security detail one by one and is like quite blasé about it. She's been fucking FBI agents. She's trying to fuck Solo. There is like absolutely no shame attached to it.
Yeah,
Solo
true.
at worst seems annoyed by her.
Yeah, she's never kind of condemned morally for this.
No, she doesn't get fucking shot like, it's done to some of the other
She
women,
survives. I don't know what happens to her at the end of the film, but she
doesn't even get like arrested.
No.
She's busy like,
getting domed off.
Suck and fuck. Yeah, absolutely. So, mashallah. So I think that makes it like a full point lower. So I think it takes it like it could be like a 3 to me.
Yeah, I think I'm with you there.
Okay.
That gives us a total score of 12, which is pretty darn good. It's like the second best Man from Uncle. One of our spies is missing. It's still the best on 11, but it's definitely doing good.
Incredible. Well, I've really enjoyed watching this one. I can't wait for How to Steal the World, which is going to be the last one of the like feature films. And then we're into sort of like some other things.
Mm-hmm.
But in the meantime, thank you for listening. We have a Patreon. You can subscribe to it. You now will have to in order to get the bonus episodes because we have to pay rent and exist under capitalism. So regret to announce that. Yeah, I know.
When did this come in?
It's fucked up. Well, I mean, the thing is, right, I just paid my energy bill. And
oh, shit.
There were a lot of numbers on it. And so the conclusion that I had was like, I like to try and be a good person. Maybe not that good. So you have to pay us for the bonus episodes now.
Not yet. Obviously, this comes out on the 8th or 9th. Next week will be another free bonus. Then there'll be the next Man from Uncle. But after that, back behind the iron paywall, I'm afraid.
Yep.
Motherfuckers.
Afraid so.
You get 5 months out of us.
What is that next bonus episode?
It's a Speed Racer.
Speed Racer.
I'm excited to pretend I haven't seen it yet.
I think that'll be
I'm
good.
Curious what I agree with about that. In the meantime, fuck you. Call me a soy jack. I'll kill you.
Kill me. Do it. Thank you for listening to yet another episode of Kill James Bond. Kill James Bond will return in 2 weeks' time on the free feed for the next Man from Uncle, which is How to Steal the World, which I believe Abby is planning to get her brother on for, so look forward to that. However, if that is simply too long for you to wait, next week, also on the free feed, because that will be the final free of the winter of content, final unpaywalled bonus episode. Speed Racer, 2008, baby. We're doing it. We're doing it. We've heard your baying and we're doing it. You don't have to give us any money at the moment to access the entire gamut of content that we put out, but some people still choose to, and among those are our £15 and above patrons, and those are Candy Fox, Freya Aloysius, Gustavo Lira, Jack Holmes, Mike Berg, Thomas Oberhart, Nick Boris, Kentucky Fried Commie, Yarrick, Nate Amori, Cohen Enright, Harriet de Kock, Labour Delenda Est, Ozymandias, Beef Crime, Library Hitman, Max Gaiman Hart, Callan Burney, Jack Drummond, Jonathan Gerdes, Kit Divine, Hell, Jay Martindale, Lysamesh, Jonathan Siegel, Tarp O, Big Titty Goth Girl, Harrison Fuller, Mothman, George Rohack, Trip, Isopod Gal, Clara Roasting Marshmallows, oh no, it's Andrew, 95, Violet Cybra, Alex, the spy who ruined my marriage, Liz and Ash in Florida, a trans robot, Men's Room Louie, Ronan, Annie Ruby, Connor's cool big sister, Walscott, Maz, Zoe Shepherd, my jokes keep being on the wrong episode, Elizabeth Cox, Finn Ross, Gwen Valeri, Roll History Pod, Josie, Alfredo, Artemis Potter and Elizabeth Ball, Turfs Eat Shit and Die Alone, Grey Area, Wolfie, Al Irwing, Robert Greensmith, Millie, Josh Simmons, and Lauren Baston. Your James Bond is Alice, Abigail, and Devon. Our producer is the wonderful Nate Bethay, our podcast art is by Matty Lubchansky, and our website is by Tom Allen. See ya.